best weekend of football I've ever seen. And, we can always say in a job like this, on shows like this, and we were in the NFL week-to-week league and knee-jerk reaction and just, recency bias, always use this type of language, greatest we've ever seen, and so on and so forth. And we use that for Week 18, the way it all played out, from the Steelers having to wait all day to find out that the final game wasn't going to end in a tie, and it almost did, and all of that. Best weekend of football I've ever seen. And I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of them. And the numbers support it, and so do the memories that we already have from the weekend. I'm just going to go right into it. This divisional playoff weekend was off the charts, and we needed it. The super wild card weekend was anything but. What I'm about to say, remember, there were only 0 second half lead changes in the previous 17 playoff games before everything kicked off in Tennessee. And the Cincinnati Bengals showed up, folks, to kick off divisional weekend. They showed up and they took their hits, and Joe Burrow kept on slinging it. And the first big play of the weekend was Jamar Chase. What a playmaker this kid is, 57-yarder, but the Tennessee Titans defense kept on sacking Joe Burrow and kept it a game. And then sure enough, the second half hit, and Derrick Henry started planting his foot and started making some plays, and the Tennessee Titans had a shot to win this football game. Had a shot to win the football game, and the last 2 possessions of the Tennessee Titans season will be very difficult to get out of the brain of Tennessee Titans fans. 3rd and inches, and all they need is a field goal to take the lead. And for some reason, Ryan Tannehill keeps it. Don't give it to Derrick Henry. No. Keeps it. He gets stopped. 4th down. The whole free world knows that Derrick Henry's coming, and sure enough, the Bengals stop him because he stops and starts. But the Bengals get the ball back, which meant 2 more sacks of Joe Burrow. Titans get the ball back. Ryan Tannehill wanting to get his team in position to kick the game-winning field goal in regulation, throws his 3rd interception of the day. And all Burrow has is 20 seconds left on the clock, more than enough time to find Jamar Chase one more time. And he does it to set up the longest game-winning field goal as time expired in regulation in NFL playoff history. Evan McPherson, the kid with ice in his veins, the 5th-round draft choice out of Florida, splits the uprights, and the Cincinnati Bengals are back in the AFC Championship game for the first time since 1988. Joe Burrow, the first ever first overall selection as a quarterback in the NFL to make a championship game in his first 2 years. That's never happened. And he becomes the first quarterback in postseason history to be sacked 9 times and still win a playoff game since Hall of Famer Len Dawson was sacked 9 times in the 1966 AFL Championship game, as the Titans fall to 0-3 all-time as the 1 seed.
That's a long time ago.
And that's the way it all started. Len Dawson, by the way, that happened in the first Chiefs-Bills playoff game of all time. We'll get to the latest in a second, because there was a Saturday night game in Lambeau Field between the San Francisco 49ers, who I told you coming into the weekend, by the end of the weekend, might add another team to the list of teams wishing the Rams had finished off the 49ers in Week 18 when they could. Because the Green Bay Packers had the Niners in their house in Lambeau Field Saturday night, the Cathedral in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the church opened up with Aaron Rodgers on an absolute roll. A 10-play, 69-yard drive that featured it all. A lot of Devontae Adams, a good amount of Aaron Jones, and then rolling A.J. Dillon right downhill into the end zone. That's the way it all started for Green Bay. And then Zadarius Smith finished off a 3-and-out of Jimmy Garoppolo. Zadarius Smith back out of the injured reserve. And he makes his presence felt right off the bat. The Niners defense on their heels again, because Rodgers is on the plus side of the field again. And then Mercedes Lewis fumbles, and the whole night changed. Team effort, as we'll find out in the next couple minutes, as we saw on the night, team effort. But that Mercedes Lewis fumble was huge, because it stopped the steamroller from steaming and rolling and put the steamroller in the garage for the rest of the night. Even though the 49ers couldn't put points on the board. Because, how about this for a plot twist? Jimmy G was throwing dimes, and they were being dropped by everybody else, including our buddy George Kittle. How about that for a plot twist? Jimmy G comes out on fire. Everybody else wouldn't help him. Until the last drive of the first half for the Niners, and there showed up the Jimmy G that to be very honest with you, is the reason why the next two first-round draft choices of the 49ers belong somewhere else. An inexplicable, awful interception thrown in the red zone at the end of the first half, set up by, oddly enough, a holding penalty by Trent Williams. He's got a few of those, but it put the Niners off schedule, and then Jimmy Garoppolo throws an interception, 7-0. Not enough time for Green Bay to score. With the exception of 3 snaps later, a 75-yarder to a wide-open Aaron Jones, tied for the longest pass play of the whole weekend. And then the 49ers, with their heels, now against the red zone, get a sack of Aaron Rodgers, and then a couple snaps later, a blocked field goal. End scene, 7-0. That's the way the first half ended. But that was what my English teacher would call a harbinger. Problem on special teams for the Green Bay Packers, because the Niners D kept on getting Rodgers off the field, and then the snow starts coming down. Just what we need. You need that snow in Lambeau Field on a playoff weekend, on a playoff night. Snow comes down, less than 5 minutes to go in this game, and sure enough, the Green Bay Packers sack Rodgers, and they get set up for a punt return, and it's a punt block with 4:50 to go. First team to have a block punt and a field goal in a playoff game since the 1988 Bills. And it ties the game with the second latest game-tying or go-ahead special teams touchdown in the NFL postseason since the Music City Miracle against the 99 Bills. That's how the game got tied. Rodgers gets the ball back, and he misses a wide-open Allen Lazard over the middle as this decision to force it into double coverage up top to Davante Adams is something that will stick in his craw for a long time to come, because the Niners get the ball back, and on 3rd and 7 with the snow coming down and time ticking down, and them not wanting to give Aaron Rodgers enough time to beat them if they don't get any points, because that's exactly what happened to them in week 3 after they scored points and losing to Aaron Rodgers. On 3rd and 7, what does their coach do? But they dial up a run play to the best all-around football player in the NFL today, and I did not stutter, in Deebo Samuel. They pitch it to him, and he picks up the first down in the snow and sets up his Stones field goal kicker in Robbie Gould. And for the first time since the divisional weekend of 1980, both 1 seeds go down on the same divisional playoff day, and sets up Sunday for 2 games for the right to not only advance to, but also host championship games. As Aaron Rodgers, after all of what we saw and went through, wondering what was going to happen with him, to him, for him, all season long with the Green Bay Packers, he's one and done again and becomes the first quarterback in the history of the postseason to lose to the same team in the playoffs 4 times. That's never happened, and it's the team that he said he would make pay for not drafting him. These are all facts. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.